Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Martin. Martin is the anglicized form of the Latin Martinus, which comes from Mars, the Roman god of war and one of the most prominent of all gods in Roman mythology. The name Martin became very popular in medieval times due to the growing cult and fame of the 4th century St. Martin of Tours. The son of a Roman soldier and pagan worshipper, Martin was duty-bound to join the military at the age of 15. By this time, he was drawn to Christianity, which was still not accepted within the Roman Empire. He is mainly remembered for having cut his coat in two and humbly giving one half to a poor beggar. It is said that Martin later dreamed of Jesus wearing half his coat and saying to the angels, "Here is Martin, the Roman soldier, he has clad me." This story was very popular in the Middle Ages as an example of Christian piety. 5 popes have been named Martin and scores of Catholic saints. Let us not forget the 16th century German theologian Martin Luther, who instigated the Protestant Reformation with his radical idea that salvation was a free gift from God, rather than rewarded through good deeds. All one needed was faith in Jesus Christ as Redeemer of sin. This didn't sit well with the Catholic Church since they were deep into the practice of accepting money in return for giving absolution from sin. When Luther confronted the Church, they excommunicated him. Lastly, Martin Luther King, Jr. is another example of good Christian values in action and at their core. MLK famously led the American Civil Rights Movement and altered the landscape of American history forever. His powerful, nonviolent approach reshaped race relations in the United States. For a name that doesn't come to us directly from the Bible, Martin is loaded with religiosity rather than war and battle as the Roman god Mars represented. Martin is a name that's been in constant use among English speakers since the Middle Ages. Personality of the boy named Martin. The 3 energy is powerful and enthusiastic. These personalities are cheerful, full of self-expression, and often quite emotional. They have an artistic flair and gift of gab that makes them natural entertainers. Their joyfulness bubbles over, and their infectious exuberance draws a crowd. The 3 personality is like a child, forever young and full of delight. They are charming, witty, and generally happy people. The 3 personality lives in the now and has a spontaneous nature. 3 seem to live with a bright and seemingly unbreakable aura that attracts others to them. Luck also has a tendency to favor number 3s. Popularity of the boy named Martin. Martin is one of those names that has experienced consistently high usage in America, but you would hardly know it. The name was a top 100 favorite from the years 1880 to 1970, that's 90 straight years without missing a beat. While not as popular as names like William, Michael, or David, Martin has been quietly bestowed on more boys than you would have guessed over the decades. However, as we've entered the 21st century in the past several years, Martin has been showing more serious signs of decline. Today, it's ranked a modest number 258 on the charts, 2010. Martin is a timeless classic with a modern-day feel. There is a simplicity and gentleness to the name that should appeal to the no-frills parent. It's a modest, straightforward name. You simply can't go wrong with a name like Martin. He's cute, he's smart, he's principled, and he's not afraid to speak his mind. It's for this reason that we love Martin is a number 3 in numerology. And what was once a relatively common name is now becoming more original and unique. Quick facts on Martin. Gender, boy. Origin, English. Number of syllables, 2. Ranking popularity, 263. Pronunciation, Martin. Simple meaning, Mars, Roman god of war. Characteristics of Martin. Social, creative, optimistic, popular, communicative, happy, dramatic. Cultural references to the baby name, Martin. Literary characters of the baby name Martin. Martin Chuzzlewit is the title character in Charles Dickens' 6th novel, The Life and Adventures of Martin Chuzzlewit, originally serialized between 1843 and 1844. It was Dickens' own avowed favorite of his books, although its reception by the public was a little less than satisfying. Disinherited by his tyrannical grandfather, Martin I, young Martin is forced to seek menial labor to make his way in the world and, he hopes, win the love of Mary, the indentured caretaker of his grandfather. In the course of his adventures, this rather clueless young man makes his way to the United States in the company of the benevolent Mark Tapley, and encounters many eye-opening situations there, not the least of which is Dickens' opportunity to skewer Americans. Dickens' stated purpose in the novel was to exhibit the awful consequences of human selfishness, and so he does, but not without also showing the redemptive consequences of true human interaction, caring and devotion. The final outcome of all the labyrinthian mazes of the plot is the triumph of goodness over evil, however petty. The final chapters provide us with a sense of having come out of a bad nightmare into a wonderful, waking dream, and dear Martin is at its forefront. Seth is a main character in Charles Dickens' novel, Martin Chuzzlewit, originally serialized in 1843-44, and holds the title of one of the most marvelous villains in literary fiction. In fact, his name became a synonym for hypocrisy in the 19th century. Along with his two daughters, judiciously named Charity and Mercy, but hilariously nicknamed Cherry and Mary, he portrays himself as a very moral person, when in fact he is anything but. He is a substandard architect who holds classes for students, all the while passing off their work as his own. He is conniving, unctuous, mean-spirited and sanctimonious, in short, the type of villain whose downfall is hopefully awaited and gleefully received. Popular songs on Martin. A song by Snuff, Henry Martin, Martin, a song by Harry Belafonte, Abraham Martin and John Martin, Doom. It's 7:00 Euro Clock, a song by the Jayhawks, Martin's Pretty Girls, a song by the Boo Radleys, a song by the Huntingtons, a song by Joan Baez, Martin's Song, Abraham, Martin, and John, Abraham, Martin and John, a song by Emmylou Harris, a song by Smokey Robinson. Famous people named Martin. Martin Sheen, actor, Martin Short, actor/comic, Martin Van Buren, U.S. President, Martin St. Louis, hockey player, Martin Brodeur, hockey player, Martin Scorsese, film director, Martin Luther, religious reformer, Martin Dihigo, baseball player, Martin Lawrence, actor, Martin Luther King Jr., Nobel Prize winner, peace. Children of famous people named Martin. Gwyneth Paltrow.